This is going to be the only SMT divergence video you guys will ever need. Have you ever asked yourself what is SMT and how do I spot it? But in this video we're going to go down how I utilise it and how you can quickly spot it and utilise it in the live markets. Let's get into the video, guys. So first we're going to break down what is SMT, okay? SMT is a Kraken correlation at the same time on a correlated asset, okay? So for example, I trade indices, so I look at Kraken correlations between NQ, ES. But if you trade commodities, you can look for gold and silver. If you trade Forex, you can look for Euro, GBP, USD, or even DXY, right? The reason why this is so impactful is because it signals to us which asset we should long and which asset we should short, depending on our bias, right? But it also shows us that the trend could be changing, right? So in this example here, we have NQ on the left and we have ES on the right. This is just a quick drawing. So this low here is at the same time from ES. So this is the correlated low here, and this is the correlated low here, right? And what do you notice is different about these two lows, right? One low has been swept, one low hasn't, right? So that therefore signifies to me that if I was bullish, okay, I would want to be long in NQ, as NQ made the lower high while ES made the lower low. If you know anything about market structure, or even just reading the trend, you know that this is a high probability bullish setup, right? So this becomes our SMT, and this becomes our SMT. Now, I'm not saying that you can't long ES in this example. It just means that you're long in the weaker asset when you want to be long in the stronger asset, okay? And then it's completely different for shorts, which I'll show you after. But this could be gold, this could be silver, this could be GU, this could be EU, right? It does not matter, okay? But the reason we utilize SMT, and you have to make sure it's at the same time, right? So this low here is the same time here as it would be on ES, okay? And you'll see that when I go into the live chart examples. So understanding this, it was a key framework for me. So once you've got your head around this, you should be able to read the markets very easily. The way I like to use it is, if you've watched my internal to external videos, which should be in one of the corners now, I like to use the internal and external as a POI, and then SMT will just refine my entry. So this is, say, on the 1 hour, right, and then we can refine it down to the 5 minute, etc. So now we're going to go into a bearish example just to make it make more sense. I'm going to keep it simple in NQ and ES just to keep it simple for all of you that are new to the concept. But like I said, right, this could be gold, this could be silver, this could be EU, this could be DXY. It does not matter, okay? The concept still remains the same. Okay, so at this same high here, say this is 10 AM, right? This is 10 AM and this is 10 AM. And this high here from, I don't know, 10:30 came up and swept this high, right, like this. And ES failed to sweep that high at 10:30. And what is that telling me? That is telling me that if I wanted shorts, okay, I would want to short ES. But I bet you're asking, why is that? So the reason I'd want to short ES is because ES made the higher low, while NQ made the higher high, right? And what is that telling me? So that's telling me ES would be the best asset to short in this scenario, and NQ not so much. It's not saying you can't short it. You can definitely short it. I've shorted the weaker or the stronger assets, vice versa, a lot of times. But it's just, for me, a high probability model if we short the weaker asset, right? This can work in all different correlated markets, right? As long as they are correlated. I will put a photo on the screen now of the correlated markets just so it can make more sense to you and you can see which assets are correlated with what. But yeah, so now we're going to get into some live chart examples because hopefully you understand the SMT and what it looks like. But yeah, let's crack into this and we'll go to NQ and ES and I'll show you some examples. Right, so this is going to be another bearish example. So this is going to be, basically, I'm going to ask you where you think the SMT is before I do it. So right now, pause the video. Okay, these are two correlated markets. We've got NQ on the left and we've got ES on the right. So these are the two correlated markets, and try and figure out which asset has taken the high while the other asset has failed to, right? So pause the video now and get into that. I'm going to carry on. So at this time here, you can see we've got 9 AM, right? I'm not going to get into my model. That'll be saved for another video and how I utilize it. But right now, we're just going to be looking at SMT. So the first thing I see is this, okay? We swept this high from 6 AM and the same correlated asset 6 AM high is here, right? So what is that telling me? That is telling me that if I wanted to short, I should short ES because it's the weaker asset, right? So naturally, ES failed to sweep the same correlated high and NQ did. And what does that become? That becomes our SMT, right? It's really that easy, guys. You don't need to make SMT any more complicated than it needs to be, right? So now we've got a cracking correlation at the same time on a correlated asset. If I was looking to short, I would look to short ES, but I'm not going to drop down to the lower time frames and look for an entry just because I want to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, now I'm going to find another bullish example for everyone and we'll get into that. But yeah, I hope you all got this correct when you pause the video. The more times I show you this and the more times you see me utilizing it, hopefully it should start to make more sense for you. In short, ES is weaker because it failed to create the higher high where NQ created the higher high, right? ES created the lower high, NQ created higher high. Naturally, if you were short, you would want to short ES over NQ, right? Pretty simple. Let's do a bullish example. Right, so here's our bullish example, and the same scenario as I did before. I'm going to leave the charts like this, leave it blank, and now you should pause the video and try and work out which asset swept the low at the same time and the other asset failed, right? So pause the video now and I'll crack on. Here we can see we have the 10 AM low, right, on both assets. And what do you notice is different about one other than the other? Okay, one asset has swept the 10 AM low while one correlated asset has failed to, right? So this is therefore telling me if I wanted to long, my SMT would be like this and it should be long in NQ, right? Same time, this asset failed to take the low and then the SMT will be like this, okay? As you can see, the 10 AM low gets swept on ES at 3 AM, creating the lower low, while on NQ, it fails to sweep the same correlated low, creating the lower high, right? So now, naturally, if I wanted longs and everything aligned with my setup, then I can take a long. Pretty simple, right? So I will now crack on and do some other examples with gold and silver just to show you it can be utilized on gold and silver. But I just want to add that regarding gold and silver, the SMT does work. It works in all correlated markets, as I said, but I do find it works best on NQ and ES, okay? The cracking correlation, but you can see what happens here, right? And this is basically just from the cracking correlation. So yeah, we'll get into another video. So we'll get into another example now and we'll go and have a look at gold and silver. Right, so now we're on a bullish example for gold and silver. Gold is on the left, silver is on the right, okay? So now pause the video and we're looking for some bullish SMT. So you want to see which asset created the lower high and which asset created the lower low, okay? So pause the video now and I'm going to crack on, okay? Here you have the 2 AM low, right? And if your eyes should already be going to this same two-legged candle, right? So what do you notice is the difference, okay? So silver came down and swept that 2 AM low, right? And created the lower low, while gold failed to sweep that 2 AM low and created a lower high, right? So naturally, this becomes our bullish SMT. So this is therefore signifying to me, if I wanted to long, okay, I should long gold. Gold is the stronger asset. Silver is weaker, okay? So as you can see, you can already see how this 4-hour candle, how it's printing, right? And I just want to add as well, this does work on all time frames, okay? I use it on the daily, the 1 hour, all the time frames, even the 5 minute, okay? Even the 1 minute. This does work on all time frames. It can work on any single correlated asset as long as it's got a correlation. So you can even use Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Which I used to catch a short. But yeah, so as you can see here, bullish SMT, right? And then this is the result. And you can clearly see which asset looks better to long, right? This asset here, gold, takes out this high while silver fails to. Naturally, we can now say that we have bearish SMT, right? So now we've got bearish SMT and bullish SMT. But this is where having a daily bias and utilizing the internal and external video that I put out a couple of weeks back, this is where you can decide whether you're going to be long or short on the day. It's really that simple. Like this short can still play out, this long could still play out. I would personally be long on the day, so let's see. And as you can see, silver therefore carries on taking out the high, disregarding our bearish SMT, right? Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. This is one of the main concepts I use. I'm going to do one more example on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we can go from there. And as always, if you've got any questions, feel free to put them down below. But I've basically uploaded my whole model now to YouTube for free. Right, so any questions, feel free to put them down below or join my free Discord community and you can ask me questions. But yeah, let's go over to the last example and I'll show you that you can work on any market as long as they're correlated. Okay, so this will be the final example demonstrating SMT. This is currently Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So Bitcoin is on the left and Ethereum is on the right. Okay, as always, pause the video, try and figure out what highs have been swept. This is for a bearish SMT, right? What highs have been swept on one asset and what highs have been swept on the other asset, and try and work out which highs have failed to get swept. Okay, so pause the video now. Okay, this is on the daily time frame as well. As you can see here, we've got this high from the 9th of December, right? So we'll go like this. As you can see, we've got this high from the 9th of December, okay? So what is that telling me? If we go and look at the same correlated asset, this is a 9th of December high, right? So what is that basically signaling to me? If I wanted to short, okay, this should be my bearish SMT, just like this, right? Bitcoin made the higher high, while Ethereum made the lower high, right? So now we've got this bearish SMT in place, and I hope you got this correct when I told you to pause the video. So now we've got some bearish SMT, right? So now that's basically signaling to us, if I wanted to short, it would be Ethereum because that would be the weaker asset, okay? So Ethereum made the lower high, while Bitcoin made the higher high at the same correlated time on the same correlated assets, right? So we've done indices, we've done NQ and ES, we've done gold and silver, and now we're doing Bitcoin, okay? This trade, interestingly, I actually took, okay? It'll be up on the screen now, the trade I took and the screenshot of the trade. So this was a Bitcoin monthly down to the daily. So as you can see, this is how we played out. And just while we're here, it was also a monthly previous candles high, right? The monthly previous candle high got swept inside of a internal range liquidity pool, if you all watched that video. And then I looked to utilize a daily order block to get on side with the move, right? So I'm not going to go into order blocks now, but this is a very good example of I actually shorted the stronger asset, okay? So my order block entry was this, right? So I got in here and I shorted the stronger asset, and I just wanted these lows, right? That's all I wanted. So I could have easily shorted Ethereum, but I just didn't want to. I feel more confident trading Bitcoin. I've got more data on Bitcoin, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And as you can see, I've literally got the executions for this, and I did call it live on TikTok, I think it was. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense to all of you, and hopefully you now can understand SMT and how I utilize it and how I use it to navigate the markets on correlated assets. But once again, guys, thank you for watching. My next video will be coming out next Wednesday. I try and post every Wednesday. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe and share, right? And yeah, I hope everyone has a good week.